Put that coffee down. Coffee's for closers only.
Yes, coffee's for closers only. How are you tonight? It's Friday night. Do you know how long I've wanted to put that clip in a live stream and have never gotten to it? It's Friday night. I'm streaming. You're here. I mean, what could be better? What could be better? Lots of stuff we're going to go over tonight because, you knew I was sick for a while. I had all this, all these articles and stuff I'd read and had it all ready to go. And then I got sick and never went to the articles. Tonight we're cleaning that stuff out. It's my goal that tomorrow we'll have all fresh content. It's all going to be great. But tonight we just got to get through articles. And what's funny to me is what I would say is like the timeliness of news in the sense that, the market's been, throwing up on itself for how many days now? The housing market. I mean, it's not good. Not good. Now deals are still being done. Certain parts of the country are fine. I mean, that's great. But just 3 weeks ago, everyone was talking about how, everything was still tough and hard to get a deal. And, everything was, boy, once we hit psychologically 7% interest rates that one day, everything just went. So we're going to go over some stuff. Plus, there wasn't a lot of newsworthy in the housing market per se until things started to get a little dicey. Like I was watching things go poorly, but there was not a lot of data that could back it up, in my opinion. And so, I mean, here I'm sitting there every day looking at stuff and working with buyers and sellers and going, things are a little dicey here. And yet there's no data to back me up. And now we get all this avalanche of data. We don't even know what to make of the data. That new home construction August number was just baffling. And we have all these problems in the economy in the sense that how do we have, low unemployment and negative GDP? That's not a good sign. So as a real estate agent, though, let's talk about it kind of in that perspective. If you have to buy a house tomorrow, you have to buy a house tomorrow. What are you doing? How are you positioning yourself when you go buy this house? That's the key. Well, you're doing it knowing that the house value is probably going to go down. You're probably going to want to refinance at some point in time during the 30-year mortgage, which who's keeping a 30-year fixed mortgage anymore from the start? And don't please, look, I feel like I am the most financially conservative person you'll ever meet. I don't use debt. I don't live, my life is not full of debt. I pay for everything in cash. So, I mean, I'm as conservative as you can possibly be as far as financing is concerned. But even I would not know why you would keep a 7% mortgage on 30 years when at some point in time down the road, it's going to go down somewhere. The Fed can only do so much. Okay. Let's assume that the Fed is like a third of the financing category. And then let's say another third is Congress. And then let's say another third is Wall Street. Okay. So the Fed is only really, I mean, they're in everybody else's business. Okay. But they can only do so much from their perspective. Do you think that the current administration, and no, not from a political standpoint, but do you think that the current administration is going to stop spending money? I don't think that's going to happen. When's the last administration that didn't spend money, Republican or Democrat? So we're going to have runaway spending no matter what. The Fed can't fix that. The Fed can lower rates. The Fed can buy mortgage bonds and inflate that asset, which I mean, that's where we're at. And then we have Wall Street's response to all of this. If you're like me, you feel like the Fed has they care about Wall Street more than they care about anybody else. If you're like me, if you see what they do to regular people, if you had a regular group of people and you had Wall Street executives, you know who's getting screwed first, right? You know the regular people are the ones that are going to bear the brunt first. There's no question in my mind. You can think differently. Totally free country. But we're in a situation where if you just look at world finance, the UK almost melted down this week. They almost ate it on their currency. The government there has come up with this, let me get it right. They're cutting taxes but raising interest rates. The problem with that, I think, not an expert, is when you raise the interest rates, you also raise the debt service payment, where you need revenue from taxes to pay for that debt increase. It doesn't seem like that's going to go well. Why are we looking at the Bank of England for clues about the United States? Well, what happened was crazy. Well, what happened was crazy this week. Could the same thing happen in the United States? Absolutely. I don't know if you guys, I don't play the stock market. I have a few stocks that I look at and invest in. Did you see that the price action today? Things were going great. I stopped looking around 2:00 Central Time, and then I looked again, and we were down 500 points. I don't know exactly what the point is of that. That my understanding is there's going to be a Fed meeting on Monday, but even we don't know that they're going to do anything. But let's tie this back to real estate. Let's tie this back to housing. The housing market is huge. It's bigger than you can comprehend. All the different spots that, all the different inputs that go into it. I mean, just massive. Okay. And how many times do things outside of housing come into housing to destroy it? Well, one of the things is going to be financing. One of the things is going to be demographics, not as a negative. If you have a population boom, okay, where people need housing, okay, it's going to cause something in the market. Okay, the prices will not stay the same if there's some sort of generational or demographic shift. And I think we're all, or at least I say we're all, I think I am looking for that moment where it's like, okay, now here's where the stress is coming from. And it looks like it's in the currency markets. It looks like it's in the Fed funds rate. It looks like it's over in those areas. It's not, and I've never really talked about this before, but this is my belief. Like Warren Buffett wrote this, and by the way, I'm not a huge Warren Buffett, okay, but he wrote this thing about Mr. Market. If you've ever read it, it's like Mr. Market's always doing the opposite of what's right. And that's how you take advantage of the market, is when Mr. Market is panicking, you buy, and when he thinks things are great, you either sell or hold. I've always, all my life now, I've kind of had that in the back of my mind. And if we take it to housing, you have the housing market, okay, and the housing market is made up of very good people. It's a character judgment. Very good people that are paying, that when they're buying a house, they're saying, hey, I'm going to put down roots here. I believe in this community. I believe in this place. I'd like to live here, and I'm willing to pay the taxes to live here. I'm willing to pay some fee to live here for the house, for the construction of the house. This is where I'm putting down roots. This is my home. It has nothing to do with the market, in the sense that, they don't care they're not influencing. They're not personally trying to influence the rate at which they borrow. They're not influencing the price at which they pay. They just literally are these people wanting to buy a home, a single family home or a condo or someplace where they're putting down roots. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's these other people, the ones that the real estate investors that want to make billions, Wall Street that wants to collateralize everything, politicians that want to spend money on things that have nothing to do with housing, but somehow they can, if you say, we're going to help people with housing, it's a good way to get money. So it's a good excuse. Those people impact the housing market far more than just the regular family, the regular couple, the regular single fellow that wants to go buy a house and put down roots. It's bad. It's bad. I don't know how many thousands of dollars in the price of a home and in financing are transferred to someone else, not to do with this guy. Now you say you could be slick tonight. You could say, John, you're a real estate agent. You extract a fee from the seller from the seller of the property. You're the one that's taking the money. Well, look, you can still go sell your house on your own. There's no law against selling your own house. People pay me to help them sell their home. People pay me to find a buyer to buy their home. I make no apologies for my commission. But what we're seeing in the market is good people. I mean, they want to buy a house, and interest rates and prices are making it so that they can't do that. They can't do that. And so we've got to me a disconnect between the financing and the people that have all in your back pocket and the actual buyers and sellers. Are sellers greedy? I mean, in my own situation, like when I see houses selling for $150,000 more than I paid for my own home in my own subdivision, and I'm thinking like sometimes I'll get a call from someone in the subdivision to sell their home just because they know I'm a real estate agent and they don't have anybody, and that's totally cool. Right now, I'm telling them, hey, we don't want to be at the top. We don't want to be pricing this at the top. And that's where we'll make the shift at 12 minutes here. Let's make the shift to our positioning. Our positioning. Now, this is kind of funny because I don't know that you're going to hear this from agents, and I don't know that it's a good idea that I broadcast it. But if any other real estate agents are working on a deal with me and they listen to me, I don't think that they can argue with my position. I don't think that they're getting an advantage over my clients because they know our position. Here's my position. If I'm a buyer right now, a couple things. One, I'm looking at least in St. Louis, I'm telling you from my perspective, this is what I'm doing. I've been looking at house prices lately. Okay. And first of all, I like to be above 1,000 square feet, not in living area, 1,000 square feet, first floor. I'm seeing houses that, let's just say, we're just going to throw some numbers. I've been seeing houses that used to be like 1,000 square feet or less selling for like $200,000, which is ridiculous here. Okay. I'm starting to see those same $200,000 price points start to creep into like the 1,100, 1,200 square foot price point. Like now you're seeing 200 for 1,100 square feet, 1,200 square feet. Not everywhere. Okay. But just square footage is starting to creep up. Sales price staying the same. What is my position? You say, John, if you're showing a house this weekend, what do you do? Okay. Well, we go see the house. How many people have gone to see the house? It only takes one other buyer to be in competition with you to screw things up. Okay. And let's look at it this way. What is my relationship with my buyer? Is this the first time we've gone out? Is this the first weekend we've gone out? Or if we've gone out for 2 years? Because that matters. Because those people that have been out for 2 years, they know the market as well as I do. They know exactly what to do, and I don't have to coach them. They've learned. They've learned through trial and tribulation. So let's say there's a house. We walk through the house, and it's based on all the other houses we've seen. The asking price is either legitimate, reasonable, or maybe a little too high. Well, we will put in an offer. It'll be at asking or a little below. You say, well, John, what if somebody comes in and puts the house and buys it for, $5,000, $10,000 over asking? That's fine. That's fine. Unfortunately, that kind of stuff is going to happen. We don't want to wait to not put in an offer yet, because there's a chance they'll negotiate with us if we're the only offer. So we're writing an offer. We no longer care. Like if they say we have like 30 other offers, we put in an offer and we go along down the road. We don't even, so we didn't get it. We're definitely not going to be the ones to be the top number. Our offer is going to be more balanced than they've been for the buyer. We're going to have an appraisal writer. We're going to have an inspection. We're going to have municipal occupancy. We might have a strong escrow amount. I've never had any problem with a strong escrow amount as long as I'm working with someone that I think is going to continue to move forward and buy a home. But we are not coming in starting at $15,000 over asking with an escalation clause to $50,000 over asking. It's not happening. I don't care what house it is. I'm not doing it. In this market, when I sense and feel that prices are going to come down, I sense and see that, there's value to be had in other places. We're not going to be that one. Now look, that's on the buyer side. I've just given you my position on the buyer side. What am I doing if I'm selling a home right now? If I'm an agent? Well, the first thing, when I go on a listing appointment and my seller says to me, hey man, this guy down the street got $400,000 for this house, for a house exactly like mine 6 months ago. And I say, it was 6 months ago, interest rates were less than 5%. And he says, well, I want $450,000 for my house. No. So they're going to say to me, thank you for your time. We're going to go find an agent that's going to do it. They're going to go and do $450,000, $470,000. Okay. So you can see my business is going to be hurt. I'm not listing a house for some stupid number over what anything else is sold for, going into a housing slowdown. Not only that, we're going into winter in St. Louis. Do you know how slow the market is from now until about April? You'd be lucky if you sell 5 houses in this time normally. So yeah, that's where I'm at now. If it was like a person that I'm, that I know and that we're friends, and they say, hey man, what do you think we should price this? I'd say, look, let's look at the comps. Let's see what people have sold their house for. And then, let's just know that the offer that comes in is going to have a lot of contingencies. And we're probably not going to be a bidding war. Don't look for one. And just be happy if you get an offer that you can work. Listing agents are going to have to do something they haven't done for 3 or 4 years, and that is work offers. And by work offers, I mean work with the only one you have. You're not going to be able to shop like 15 offers around to people. You're just going to have to work the one offer. What other things can I expect? I can expect there's going to be a lot of agents that are going to go ahead and walk off the reservation. Well, our membership will be down. A lot of brokerages will consolidate, close. And it's sad, but a lot of people are going to leave the real estate business, at least residential sales, in the next couple of months to a year. I won't. I'm too committed to this business. I'm a lifer, and it is what it is. So I've given you now the buyer side. I've given you the seller side of the strategy right now that I would use. I'm going to go back. I'm going to talk about this because I can.
Put that coffee down. Coffee's for closers only.
Everything I believe in, to my core, is to fight that logic, is to fight those people in real estate. The other day I had YouTube on and it flipped over to another video, and there's these two guys and they're all like, so much BS in real estate, so much BS in real estate sales. Always hated it. Can't stand it. Been in offices like that. Hate it. Absolutely hate it. Fight against it all the time. If you like that sort of thing, if that's the kind of agent that you want, good. Go for it. If I'm right, though, and you want somebody like myself who will level with you, if I'm right, and now look, I could be wrong. That Glengarry Glen Ross, by the way. I mean, there are themes in that movie that are real, like real, like, wow. I know the stuff in that movie. I mean, I've seen it. Like, I've seen it in my own business. So anyway, if that's what you want, then I'm not your guy. But I mean, I built my business to be the exact opposite of that. I'm not trying to throw you into a house. I do care about what happens to you and your family. I really do. I am not trying to do anything like that. But don't think there aren't people that are. I mean, they are, as far as those people exist. I call them sharks. They have no emotion. Their only job is to basically beat you into submission so that you will sign an offer with them or a listing. So just know they're out there. Just know this is what I'm trying to do. Have I been proven right yet? No, my bank account has not proven anyone wrong. But I think as long as I'm around, I'm going to fight like that. I'm going to fight that. I'm going to fight that. I just hate it. I hate the mentality. I hate everything about it. And you can help me by letting me list your house. Letting me help you find a house to buy in St. Louis, St. Charles, Jefe, St. Louis City, and St. Louis County. Speaking of which, I am a member of 3 real estate boards: St. Louis Association of Realtors, Gateway Association of Realtors, and the St. Charles Association of Realtors. Why? Well, I just think it's important. I do business in all those places, and I feel like I should be part of the real estate board. I support them. But I was very disappointed this morning. Around 9:30, I got an email from Gateway and St. Charles Association that supers weren't working. Now, what is a super? A super is, I've got it on my phone. It's basically a way that we unlock these boxes that are on doors so we can let clients in when we're showing houses. And every once in a while they get screwed up, so no big deal. I didn't get an email from the St. Louis Association, the largest association in St. Louis, until 11:30, 2 hours later. What were they doing? Like, they've been doing some things that are squirrely lately. If you're part of the association, you know what I'm talking about. The main point, though, I think, is to serve its members. And to wait 2 hours before you let me know that the super's not working, when other associations already let their members know. Let's start focusing on the actual business of real estate. There. That was code. I'll let you interpret what I mean. So we got a lot to talk about tonight. I mean, gosh, it's going by fast. You guys know that I'm headed out of the country Sunday. I'll be gone for, I don't know, 16, 17 days. Today, I've already, I have Robert. Robert's going to take care of all my showings for me. I'll still have my work computer. I'll still have my work phone. But the time change is going to make it a little dicey. I told all my clients last night, I said, I'm out. First vacation I've taken since I got married, my honeymoon 4 years ago. I'm sorry, but I just got to go. So they know, people that I have, currently under contract to buy a house, they know. So today has been like, get ready for the trip. Did a bunch of shopping. I'm not packed yet. My goal for tomorrow is to be 85% packed so that Sunday I can not be nervous, but I'm going to be nervous. This is a big trip for me. I'm very excited about it, but it's like, it's a big deal for me. So anyway, that's that. Maybe that wasn't the best story. I'm ready to flip into some articles now. What we're going to do, like I said, we're going to clean up some of the articles that I've had for a while. We're just going to go over them. Then we're going to, we'll start with Twitter. We'll start with that stuff. But then when we get into the newer articles, I think I'll call it and we'll just check with those like tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to stream at night tomorrow. I got to cut the grass. Tomorrow. I don't know. I'm going to have a stream, hopefully, but sometimes what happens on the weekends is I let up a little bit. So, just bear with me. I'd like to have a stream Sunday morning. You can make the streams better if you chat. Come in with me on chat. Happy to respond. Just putting it out there. Let's get into the first article. I'm going to go here like that, and then I'm going to do that. Share my screen. This is our Google Trends article. I'm going with more. I just want to talk about kind of how bad I am at selling things in this way. Watch. So, hey, how did the queen die? Two things. One, did you care? Was that even an issue? Did it matter? She was dead. Two, if you did know how she died, would you just tell somebody like, oh, she died? Or would you do what everyone does in the media and do something like this? The queen's official cause of death has been revealed. Now, here's where it gets weird for me. I would write a headline that said, the queen passed away of old age. That would be the article. You would never get this innuendo or nuance as to, oh my God, how did she die? Because again, she's dead. And I mean, would it matter how the queen died? If someone chopped the queen's head off and put it on a stake, yes, that would be off-putting. if she had a disease, I guess. But I mean, at the end of the day, she's still dead. And I hope I'm not trying to make light of the fact, but I'm trying to explain that it's very odd to me that it matters how someone died. And then if it matters that much, why we can't just say how the person died? Why do we do the innuendo? And then let me add another layer on this. It's the Queen of England. Does there need to be a sense of fairness in this? Or can they just write whatever they want? Say the Queen died of something other than old age. Okay. Does it matter? I mean, like, are they going to, I mean, it seems to me the narrative's already been written that she was going to die of old age. Even if she had a heart attack, it would have been died of old age. To me. Let's look at the article just for this reason. It says earlier this month, Queen Elizabeth died at the age of 96. Well, we knew that. There was a whole 2-week plan of hey, she's dead, and there were parades and everything. It says now a newly published extract from her death certificate reveals that the official cause of her death was old age. So, okay. The certificate was published as part of the Register of Deaths by National Records of Scotland. The Queen died of old age at 3:10 on the 8th of September, according to her death certificate. The entry in the National Records of Scotland published today is signed by her daughter, the Princess Royal, who was with her when she passed away. It states that Britain's longest reigning monarch died at 3:10 on September 8th, and her daughter, Princess Anne, we just did that. 3 hours later, her death was announced to the public. According to BBC, old age is only usually given as the sole cause of death in very limited circumstances. This would be where the certifying doctor has personally cared for someone over a long period, where gradual decline has been observed, and where a doctor is not aware of any identifiable disease or injury contributing to a death. What if she died of COVID? It's not a joke. She did have COVID at one point in time. I mean, what is the penalty for misstating death of an old person? That just happened to be the Queen of England. On the certificate, the Queen's name is listed as Elizabeth Alexandra Mary Windsor, and her occupation is listed as Her Majesty the Queen. Her occupation was the Queen. It says on the day that the Queen's coffin arrived at Buckingham Palace after traveling from Balmoral, the 72-year-old Anne released a statement in which she said she was fortunate to share the last 24 hours of my dearest mother's life. She went on, it's an honor and a privilege to accompany her on her final journeys. Am I wrong? I mean, do we care? Coolio passed away the other day. I don't know what to do about that. If I don't even know if they're going to release the findings, but even if they did, they would write this stupid kind of article where it'd be like, Coolio died of this. And then 3 paragraphs in, you'd find out that he died of something. It's hard for me. I don't think the way this is written. I'm much more brief in my, get to it, right? Which is ironic because I can talk for a live stream for an hour. All right. That was our Google Trend article. It wasn't great. It wasn't, but if you've seen the searches lately, I mean, there's not been a lot people are looking at. Let's get into Twitter. Thought this was interesting. It's from El Jefe. I just want to check and make sure I'm good so you guys can read it. Okay, good. It says, another subprime lender likely to go tits up. Angel Oak Mortgage Inc., which went public last year, disclosed a net loss of $52.1 million in the second quarter and $43.5 million in the first quarter. CEO Robert Williams was shown the door. It says Angel Oak Mortgage, the publicly traded non-QM mortgage REIT, late Friday disclosed it received a 2-week extension on financing facility it has with Barclays Banks. The new termination date is October 14th. Had 20% layoffs 2 days ago. They had the CEO shown the door. Not good. Not good. You're going to see this more and more in the marketplace. You're going to see consolidation. You're going to see people lose their jobs. And to me, it seems like you got to, when you're going to do any of this in real estate, what I've noticed, I don't know if Wall Street doesn't understand real estate. Okay. At least residential real estate. I don't know if they're like suspect of it. They've never really figured it out. They like the 30-year mortgage. They like the mortgage part of it. They like the fixed financing. But I don't think they've ever been really understanding of like anything else. I mean, tremendous failure in real estate with public traded companies. But I've learned that when you're going to do, like, you got to have the narrative. Okay. So, like, if you're a brokerage, okay, you don't go to Wall Street when the market is terrible. Okay. You don't start a brokerage when the market is terrible. You start a brokerage when things only look like the charts are going up at a 45-degree angle. That's when you start your real estate brokerage. And then during that time, it should be a period of easy money. So you should be able to find angel financing, venture capital, and you should be able to use that money to recruit agents to your brokerage. Okay. And this is just me. If I were doing it myself, the brokerage would have something to do with what we would call a black box AI, black box artificial intelligence. We wouldn't use artificial intelligence. The word we'd use AI because you can sell that better. Okay. And then so everything in this business is about, we've got this AI that can find buyers and match them with sellers at a faster rate than anyone else. We have a technological advantage over the entire marketplace. And I bet you, and by the way, you don't use that money that you're getting from venture capital for the AI because that's a scam. You're using it to recruit agents to come to your business so that you can either inflate the revenue for the company or inflate the agent count. I'm just saying, like, if I were going to start a business, I would start it during the boom, and this is how I would do it. And by the way, this is timeless. This is timeless. I can do this every time the market goes up. Okay? If I do it just right, if I make a name for myself on the first one, I can do it again, and no one knows what I did the first time was an absolute joke. There are people out there that have been riding these coattails in at least the last 15 to 20 years. I've seen them, and they just bounce around from company to company, and they never ever get hit with the actual stench of failure that they created. Anyway, that's what you do. If you're a mortgage company, I don't know that business well enough. I'm just telling you how to do a brokerage on Wall Street and take it to its fullest possible place. It's got to be during a hot market. Anyway, what happens to your brokerage when people don't like your growth? Because, by the way, your growth is going to suck because you're not paying for new agents now and you're burning through cash. Do you go out of business? Do you merge with someone else? We'll find out, won't we? I think there's about 3 brokerages that I would say have dicey propositions should the market go where I think it's going. And that's I mean, in the end of the day, it's kind of interesting, you know. The agents control the business. And by that I mean they're the ones out there generating the revenue. It's not the brokerage. It's not the brokerage. And it's not somebody on top of the brokerage. The brokerage is good at collecting fees. Okay. That's what they're good at. They're not good at doing deals. So for the most part. So, you know, to me, it's going to be fascinating. Now you can ask the question, John, are you going to benefit from other brokerages going out of business? I don't think so. In my brokerage, I have kind of two distinct paths that I would take. One, like, I like real estate agents. Okay. Don't get me wrong. But my goal has always been to practice real estate, to practice the actual helping people buy and sell real estate. That's what I like to do. Okay. Running a brokerage is like herding cats. I mean, there are personalities, outsized personalities in every single direction. And I would end up fixating on those stress points or trauma. I say trauma because they actually could cause trauma. And I wouldn't be doing the real estate business. I wouldn't be conducting my business. So I would have to have like a manager come in to manage all of the agents. Okay. So that's one angle. If I were to do it, that's how I would do it. Two, if I get busy enough, like this situation right now, Robert's helping me. He's in another brokerage. He's not coming over to my brokerage. That's fine. It's not a slight. I get it. At some point in time, I might have to hire someone as an agent to show houses for me, to help me out on the back end. But that wouldn't be like 15 agents, you know, because that's not the business that I want. I want everything to flow through me in my brokerage. If I go in that direction, I'm just telling this. It's, you know, 9:46 on a Friday night, and you're watching a Realtystream. You might as well know what I'm thinking. I'm not hiding it. Anyway, so this company, Angel Oak Mortgage, I've heard about them. They ate it. Like Redfin a couple months back shuttered some of their mortgage stuff. It's going to continue. We saw that article from Wells Fargo cutting a couple people out of their Iowa branch. Don't be surprised. I thought this was interesting. I don't know if it's accurate. Okay. Don't at me. It says the housing crash via inventories by state. It's clear that the West Coast, which has seen a huge population inflows, are now retreating in housing construction, hitting the market. P.S. I live in Arizona. It's always been a boom bust state relative to rates, especially Scottsdale and Phoenix. It's very fragile. That was my last time the market went haywire. I had a friend that had her parents' house was in Arizona, Phoenix, and it was exactly like this. Okay. So big crash, inventory surge, Arizona, 129%. Missouri, no crash, inventory down. Tennessee, 73% inventory surge. Florida, 54%. Hard to believe, isn't it? Don't you? Inventory growth decline year over year. But just look at this chart now. Let me make sure you can see the chart. Okay. This is why real estate is so hard. I mean, look at how varied the no crash, the inventory down versus the inventory surge is. I mean, you would think that people were moving from California to Texas. You would think that people were moving from anywhere, New York to Florida. But I mean, it's not that way. I mean, just because you think that, when you see it, it's like all real estate is local. All real estate is local. You know, if it wasn't obvious to you before, it is now. You should check in with me every once in a while. I mean, I'll tell you what I think based on my market, but obviously, if you're working in a different market, then you know more than I do about that market, and you should use that advice. Moving on, thought this was interesting. I think this is interesting because this does not indicate a seriously terrible market. It doesn't even portend to a bad situation. It actually looks really, really positive. This is the mortgage serious delinquency rate, which decreased in August. The serious mortgage delinquency rate, I believe, is 3 consecutive months of non-payment on your mortgage. I mean, not bad. Let me just say this. If we look here, I think you can see my mouse. If you look here, you can see right after the Rona, a huge spike. My own personal opinion is that was a test. That was people that were testing the situation and seeing if they could get away with something. Don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying everyone in the aggregate was testing the market and seeing if people were going to catch them on paying their mortgage. I'm saying there were probably some, more than some, more than a couple and more than a few. Many, not all, not more than half. And when they found that there was no sympathy for that path, I think that people went on to pay their mortgages. That's my opinion. You can say I'm wrong, and I'm okay with that. Moving on, here we go. Deal with Realty. What the mortgage rates do today? That's the key. That's what we need to know. %6.79%, lowered 3 basis points. I'm not happy with the rates. Just not. I'm not going to look in the treasuries, but I think they're like 3.78 on 10-year. But you guys know more than I do about that. You can look it up. Anyway, we have to raise rates to slow down inflation. Raising rates lowers demand, causing a recession and loss of jobs. Why? Like, why did we have to do all this? Because we printed money during the Rona? To me, it's been a problem since before that. So I reject that. Some have argued that this situation we find ourselves in now is actually still from 2007. I don't know. Do you know? Put it in the comments, put it in the chat. Let's move on. Now, these are the articles that I feel like you're kind of old, and I want to get through, and then we're going to shut it down for the night. Okay? But at least it'll be off my plate and yours. First article. This came out a while ago. Did you see this? Alabama pastor arrested for watering his neighbor's flowers, body cam released. There's the pastor. An Alabama pastor was handcuffed and shoved into a police cruiser, an arrest that never should have happened. I don't know if it should have happened or not. That's just the statement there. Recently released body camera footage shows Michael Jennings, a longtime pastor at Vision of the Abundant Life Church in Sickaluga, if I did it wrong, I'm sorry, Alabama, being accosted by cops in May. Jennings was wielding a garden hose and aiming water at the flowers outside his out-of-town neighbor's house in Childersburg, Alabama, when another neighbor called the cops to report a suspicious person. Police said he was belligerent. While he did not deny getting tested, Jennings said it never got bad enough to warrant arresting him. So I have a neighbor. Sometimes I go cut his grass. It gets high, I cut it. Sometimes it's not cut. It's not high. I'm out there and I'm bored and I'm going to go cut the grass. If a cop came to me and said, "What are you doing?" and I'm literally cutting the grass, I'd say I'm cutting the grass. That should be the end of it. The fact that that wasn't the end of this here, where he's watering the lady's flowers or the neighbor's flowers, and the police continue with their like, on a side note, when I was growing up, police got the benefit of the doubt. They earned the benefit of the doubt. Now I don't know that they get the benefit of the doubt. For me, I'm talking about me. Do I support the police? Absolutely. Do they get the benefit of the doubt in any incident? In the now viral body cam video, an officer asked Jennings why he was at the house and whose car was parked in the driveway. Jennings said it was the neighbor's. I'm supposed to be here. I'm Pastor Jennings. I live across the street. The cop asked him what he was doing there, watering the flowers, as he continued to water the flowers. Like, literally, look, to me, no offense. There's certain acts, ACTS, that you should be allowed to do without the need for police intervention. Like, watering flowers is one of those things. Now, if you had an axe and you were cutting wood, maybe you have a weapon at that point in time. If you're doing target practice in your backyard of a subdivision with a gun, maybe that warrants more scrutiny by police officers. As far as, like, you're not even supposed to be in that backyard. But if you're watering flowers, the world needs more people that will water neighbors' flowers. The neighborhood initially called police before recognizing Jennings, came outside to tell police she had made a mistake, and then said that they should not arrest him. Well, now this woman is interfering in police business. Can't have that. Jennings accused them of racial profiling, and the cops placed him under arrest. They charged him with obstructing government operations after he refused to provide physical ID beyond his pronouncement, even though he explained he had not brought it with him when he left the house to walk across the street and squirt water on his neighbor's plants. Seriously. Like, do you know, I mean, of course you do. You know, situations get out of hand all the time. You know, if there's a misunderstanding or something, or someone messes with someone's, disrespect. I mean, I get it. But the police should be better than this. The police should be better than this. Says the charges were later dropped. Not good enough. Johnson attorney called the move irresponsible, irrational, and illegal, and said the footage corroborated any basis for legal action against the officers and more. I think so. I would not sue the individual officers. I would sue the department. The department is in charge of everything. The department is in charge. So it's the department's problem. You're working on behalf of those. Now, if you as a department want to sue your employees, okay, that's fine. But the lawsuit, and now look, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know anything about the law. I'm just saying the police officers work on behalf of the government, the local government. Local government should be sued so that they don't do these types of things or train these types of procedures ever again. The media makes it clear that these officers decided they were going to arrest Pastor Jennings less than 5 minutes after pulling up, and then tried to rewrite history, claiming he hadn't identified himself when that's the first thing he did. Said Atlanta-based civil rights attorney Harry Daniels, who's representing Jennings, told NPR. Jennings called it a misunderstanding and said it should never resulted in an arrest. Absolutely. He got out of the car. He's already fired up. I'm telling them, you're making a mistake. This is wrong. What are y'all doing? The sergeant yelled back, shut up and listen. You talk too much. And that's another thing. Like, honestly, a little respect goes a long way. A little respect goes, here we go. Watch. I mean, when someone tells you to shut up, I said, you don't tell me to shut up, boy. I'm a grown man. Jennings continued, to which the sergeant replied, you're going to jail. That's it. Lock him up. Emphasis mine. Don't This was just bad. People are going to say that this is evidence of racism and all kinds of stuff in 2022. It's not. It's actually just unprofessionalism. There's no racism to it. This is just very unprofessional. These officers are not trained properly. Maybe they're not the number one cadets out of the police academy. Terrible. No sympathy in any way for the police officers or the department in this situation. Terrible. Let's move on. Now, these are things like this article here is something that I used to love to do. Haven't been doing it lately because I've just had so much other information. How to ace a home inspection and sell your home fast. So let me tell you something. 6 months ago, no one cared about a home inspection because the seller would just tell you to go pound sand, find another one, find another house. You're already like $60,000 over on the house. Do you really want to go back and try and find another one? The home inspection so I think it's funny because I think we should read through it and see. But by the way, good luck. Good luck acing a home inspection. These people are paid thousands of dollars to find everything wrong with your house, and you think you're going to be able to solve it? Good luck. The home inspection can be particularly stressful part of the home buying process for buyers, but the equally anxious seller might be waiting with bated breath for the results as well. The buyer typically is responsible for scheduling and paying for the home inspection, but if the house is revealed to have major issues, the seller can be on the hook for repairs or could lose the deal entirely. Yes. And I want to say a lot of times, I'm not a home construction expert. I am not being paid as a inspector or as a consultant for repairs needed for a home. A lot of people will say to me, like if I'm listing a house, they'll say, well, John, didn't you know that the roof was collapsing? No, I didn't go up in the roof. And should I? No, again, that's not my business. My business is helping sellers sell their homes and helping buyers buy theirs. It's not inspecting every inch of a home. It's not. If that's what inspectors are for. Now, if I see a roof collapsed and I tell my buyer, hey, the roof is collapsed, well, that's just saving them money so that they don't have to do the inspection because we're not putting an offer on that one. When selling a home, one of the most nerve-wracking parts of the process is waiting to see the outcome of a home inspection. It was until this market where, we weren't going to fix anything anyway. Home inspection issues like termite or mold damage can mean the seller will have to shell out money, credits, or concessions to make things right with the buyer. If the buyer is truly turned off by the home inspection results and has a home inspection contingencies they can walk, also known as the seller's worst nightmare. You know what? It was. I'll tell you what. Some of the things that buyers ask for on repairs in even a buyer's market are so stupid that it's better to just have them walk and go ahead and work with someone else. I mean, you wouldn't believe that, but it's true. And especially nowadays with the internet. I mean, I can literally have a house go back active within like an hour and have another offer on it accepted. So why wait for a buyer to initiate a home inspection? If you're preparing to sell your home, here's how to identify any problems that can potentially stymie sale. This is not the real estate business that I'm a part of. This would not happen with me. Here we go. Ready? Consider a pre-inspection. While it's not required, a pre-inspection of your home could make the process of selling go quicker. You can disclose to the buyers any problems your home inspector uncovered and how you've addressed them. You can also sidestep major negotiations during escrow. In many markets, it's common for sellers to have a pre-listing general home inspection. It gives sellers the ability to address any issue prior to listing, demonstrating the potential buyers that the sellers are upfront and take care of their home. Or they don't because they're getting a home inspection. For sellers not keen on doing a pre-inspection, DuPont Pats recommends, at least at the very least, having major systems inspected. These are costly to replace and inspecting them can provide some peace of mind to potential buyers. First of all, no buyer's going to care that you got your HVAC serviced before you listed the home. In fact, if they suspect that if the unit's even old, they will ask for a new one. Same thing with a roof. If it's old, they're going to ask for one. I mean, they're going to ask anyway. And as far as a pre-inspection, if you do have a pre-inspection, then you have to disclose everything. If you disclose everything and then you didn't fix it, that's okay. But when you disclose all that stuff, your house starts to look really, really bad. And then what's going to happen is they're going to get their own inspector and find more things wrong. Like, you're never going to find everything that they find. It's the same thing with a municipal inspection. I mean, I know what they're looking at and looking for the most part, but they always manage to find something that I wasn't expecting. It's called job protection, and it's okay. I get it. It says steps to ace a home inspection. Tidy up the home and leave before the inspector arrives. Clean up any clutter. Although your inspector will be looking at more than just the cosmetic state of the home, it's never a bad idea to tidy up and clean your home ahead of time. This will show the inspector that as a homeowner, you kept up with everyday maintenance. Once you're done cleaning, it's time to depart so the inspector can inspect your home. Let a professional do their job and stay out of the way, but be approachable should they need something. I'm guessing this is for the pre-inspection, because the seller would never be at a private home inspection for the buyer. Make sure the home, by the way, you can clean the house as much as you want to. They don't care. On the buyer side, they're going to find whatever they're going to find. I won't even say it, but I have the suspicion that there have been times in my career that the sellers have placed furniture over electrical outlets that they knew didn't work on purpose. I'm just saying, I don't know if it's true, but I just suspect it to be true because I saw it, but maybe it was an accident. Maybe it was an oversight. Make the home accessible. Make sure the inspector has easy access to every part of your home. If the attic accesses a garage or closet, clear that any items to make it impede access. I'm sorry. The inspector can give you a rundown of all the access points they'll need. They shouldn't. You can't be that dumb. But generally, they'll need to get in the garage, roof, attic, and basement, electric service panel, or under the sinks. I love my own home inspector. I love to kid him all the time about going into the attic during the summer. I always say, there's something in the corner of the attic that you're going to have to check, because it's like 160, 180 degrees in there, miserable, humid, dusty, dirty. And now I've just told him he has to go back in the corner to inspect something. I mean, it's a jerk move, I know, but I mean, I'm sitting there, I'm sweating myself. I'm in a nice outfit, nice shirt. So provide a handy list of improvements. You've likely made some repairs on your house to make sure to let your inspector know that. This has got to be all pre-inspection. There's no way you would do this stuff with a seller. If you have any major improvements on the roof or hot water was replaced, this helps inspector determine the age of the systems. They just look at the date on the machine. That includes permits too. Before a home inspection, it's a good idea to get together any proof of upgrades, especially if you did any work that needed permits or waivers. Okay, get your paperwork together. Providing your inspector with warranties and other paperwork can save time. I mean, honestly, this is not the world I live in. I do real estate every day. This isn't what I do. And I mean, this doesn't happen. Get your paperwork together. Pull paperwork that shows any warranties on appliances, windows, gutters on your roof, along with any recent services you've done. Product market manager at Leaf Home, this guy is. Having a binder with all your paperwork can keep you organized and ready to go. It's also smart to gather any information, including receipts of the data of purchase for items like appliances, HVAC, water heater, and other essential systems. Do a thorough check inside. If you don't have time or budget to hire an inspector, check out your home before the official inspection. Grab your clipboard, download a home inspection checklist, and survey that home house. Don't. That would be dumb. The more prepared you are, the better, and more likely things will get handled early to speed you through the sale. Yeah, no. In fact, I would. Oh, here we go. Well, I don't know. I don't know if this article was a plant. Meaning it was written by the Society of Inspectors for Pre-Inspections or something like that. But I don't recommend this at all. Now, one case I would recommend a pre-inspection. If a house is so beat up and there's something structurally so wrong with it, I would probably, and I had equity in the home, a significant amount, I would get a home inspection. a pre-inspection, and I would put it out for the buyers for quote unquote peace of mind, knowing full well that they're probably going to get in their own inspector, and I'm okay with that. But it would have to be like a wall was broken in half, a chimney had fallen down, there was a vertical crack in the brick that goes through the entire home, through the wall. I mean, something like that. I definitely think I would bring it up with my seller. With my buyer, I probably wouldn't spend a lot of time at that particular house because there's all these other houses out there. Why don't we just buy that one that doesn't have all these problems? I mean, the amount of money we're saving, quote unquote, saving, isn't worth the trouble most of the time. This is Redfin. This was on September 7th. It's the 30th. Let's have some fun here. Mortgage rates have nearly doubled in the last year. Here's the bright side for home buyers. Bright side. Home prices are down 6% from the record high they reached in June. Bidding wars are at the lowest level in more than 2 years, and the typical home is finally selling for under its asking price. None of that was true for me. In July of 2022, 53 Austin homes first sold at least $100,000 above their asking price, equal to 2% of all homes sold this month. That's down from 163 a month earlier and 362 a year earlier, near the height of the pandemic. The home buying frenzy was ridiculous. That's a prime example of the slowing housing market giving buyers a break after nearly 2 years of an ultra-competitive vibe. The average 30-year fixed mortgage rate has nearly doubled from a year ago, reaching 5.66% during the week ending September 1st. Well, it's in the sevens now. 6.86%. I'm sorry. The higher mortgage rates are making it even more expensive to buy a home after 2 years of skyrocketing prices. The silver lining is that they have thrown some water on the red hot market. Below, we've compiled some of our most recent housing market stats illustrating the bright side of the cooling market for buyers. Oh, shall we? Homes are less expensive than they were in the spring. Not where I'm at. Home prices are down year over year in some expensive metros. I'm not in an expensive metro. Homes are finally selling for under their asking price. Yeah. The typical U.S. home sold below its asking price in August for the first time since March of 2021. For the last year and a half, the typical home is sold for over its asking price. That means buyers are having some success negotiating prices down, something that was essentially unheard of at the height of the pandemic home buying frenzy. I agree with that. Home buyers have more to choose from. Don't agree with that. Competition for homes is easing, maybe. If it's a nice home and it's priced right, you're still going to get multiple offers. Even right now, buyers have more time to see the homes on the market. This is always, to me, don't take this the wrong way. I'm just going to explain it to you from my perspective. Buyers have more time to see homes on the market. Typical home was on the market for 26 days before going under contract in August, up from the record low of 17 days set in June. 35% of homes went off the market in 2 weeks compared with 43% a year earlier. Let's go over this in St. Louis, and we're not going to worry about anywhere else. If a house comes on the market on a Monday and isn't active, but it's coming soon, it doesn't count on the days on market. And say that home goes active to show on Friday. Okay, so now you've got 4 days where the house, everyone knows the house is going to go for sale, but it's not active. So it doesn't count on the days on market. Now the house goes active, okay, on a Friday. They choose to accept an offer on Monday, okay? The house goes either pending or active under contract, okay? Either one of those, pending stops the days on market, okay? Just because it stops the days on market count at 4 doesn't mean anything because the house may not close for 30, 45 days. But that doesn't count in that number, that 4. If you have that situation, what it means is a very strong market that you can have a house sell in 4 days. But like I said, it doesn't close for like 30. So this typical home on the market stuff isn't even close to relative. And it never will, no offense, but it never will be, representative. It never will be representative. The best houses will always sell in the first weekend. They'll sell in a day. This is true no matter what market it is. So that's just something to pay attention to. What I would say is this. The market was so hot and the fury was so high that if a house went on the market on like at 8 o'clock in the morning, they were inundated with offers so far above, so far higher than, or so much higher than asking, that some agents were loath to keep the property open until Monday. So they may have taken an offer in the first day. Therefore, you don't get to see the house at an open house. You don't get to wait until Sunday to go see houses. I mean, you may be at work on Friday, and by the time you get off of work, the house is already sold. But that's true in any market too, believe it or not. You get a good enough offer, agent takes it off the market. There are fewer buyers in the market. U.S. home sales dropped 19% year over year in July to their lowest level since the start of the pandemic. That reflects nerves around high mortgage rates and volatile economy, but it also means that buyers who can't afford to purchase a home naturally have less competition for the one they want. But I don't know that means, what you're saying there doesn't necessarily indicate to me that there's fewer buyers in the market. Just because home sales dropped, there were times during the market run up that home sales, the number of units were low, okay, because there was no inventory. Like if you had, say there were 200 houses on the market, okay, and the next month there were 150 houses on the market and those sold and the 200 sold, well, you lost 150 transactions, but you didn't have any houses you could buy because there's no inventory. So be careful about there's fewer buyers in the market. Patient buyers may get a deal. The U.S. share of used homes that were listed for 30 days or longer without going under contract increased 12.5% in July from a year earlier, giving buyers some time and some negotiating power. A record share of home sellers are dropping their prices, with just about 8% of homes for sale each week in August experienced a price drop, and the share is much higher in pandemic boom towns like Boise and Sacramento. So I'm just trying to go over this one. So patient buyers may get a deal. Couple things. One, sellers are so conditioned that the market is super hot for them, and they're so tuning out anything that may be against that. When their house does stay in the market past 7 days, like they don't believe it, and neither does the agent most of the time. They're in shock. So they may not even lower the price for like 30 days because they're like, we really missed the price? It's us? Now, as far as getting a deal, like, look, let's say there's a house that's worth $250,000 in your eyes. It comes to market at $280,000, okay? It sits on the market for 45 days, and you put in an offer at your $260,000 optimal price. They come back and negotiate $272. You didn't get the deal. If you agreed to the 272, you still missed your number by 12,000. You still overpaid. It didn't change. I'm just putting that out there. Buyers are less likely to face competition from investors. Investor home purchases plateaued in the second quarter after skyrocketing in 2021, making less of a roadblock for regular buyers. I kind of agree with that. I bet you're not getting nearly as many offers as you were before from investors. The national ones, Open Door, OfferPad, BlackRock. I think it's like Deal America or something, or Real America. There's another one too. Homes are still 5.9% more expensive than they were a year ago, but that's the slowest growth rate since the start of the pandemic. And there are ways around high mortgage rates. Buyers can take out adjustable rate mortgage, terrible idea, which tend to have lower upfront rates, or they can refinance in the future. I agree with that they're going to refinance in the future, but I don't think you should do an adjustable rate. Sellers are losing some of their leverage, which is helping buyers who have been through the ringer over the last 2 years. Buyers are excited that homes are staying on the market longer and that some sellers are even dropping their prices. I don't know about that. I don't know if buyers are that excited. I'm reminding buyers that relatively high mortgage rates shouldn't stop them if they're serious about finding a new home, as they're still hysterically low. That's a funny quote. They're not historically low. I mean, relative to what, 1980? When it were 19%? I guess. I mean, when you use the relativity argument, I mean, it just can go anywhere. Slower market means house hunters can include contingencies like appraisals, inspections, their offers. I just told you earlier in the show that's exactly what I would do. Anyway, Today's buyers are negotiating and expect sellers to work with them. If a buyer offers $35,000 below asking price and the sellers counter with a $10,000 reduction, the buyer may walk away from the deal. If they ask for repair after the inspection, the seller refuses, they may walk away. 3 months ago, a buyer would have been very unlikely to make an offer under asking price or back out after an inspection. But now there are more homes for sale and fewer buyers. They can just look at similar properties with recent price reductions or make an offer to a seller who is willing to negotiate. That's been true the whole time. Oddly enough, it's just that no one wanted to negotiate. I don't know. Last one. I thought this was good because of the time, right? We've been told now that houses are staying on the market longer. I thought we should refresh these old stories that we used to tell, 4 years ago. According to a recent Forge report, active listing inventory in the United States is up nearly 31%. Along this have come longer days on the market, lighter showing activity, fewer competitive offers, and more power to qualified buyers. With more listings to choose from, buyers' agents look for reasons to not show a property. Buyers look for a reason not to buy it, or at the very least keep looking and delay their decision. What causes a listing not to sell? Why does it expire? Why does a listing get deprioritized by buyers or buyers' agents? Some of the reasons may surprise you, but all of them can be remedied by the listing agent, the seller, or both. Let's take a look at some of the most common reasons listings get overlooked in a market where there's more to choose from. Well, let's do that. The first three mistakes are all within the listing agent's control. Well, let's find out about that. The listing is poorly presented, little or no staging, and other issues, clutter, questionable spells, messy or dirty, and dark, all create problems. The goal is for the listing to show like new construction model home. Consider adding shoe covers in a basket on the floor. Please remove your shoes or cover them to protect the floors, which may someday be yours. The sellers will love you for saving them from vacuuming before and after every showing and asking for visitors to cover their shoes. Sets a good precedent that it's a well-kept home. I'm telling you, if your house is a dump and you want me to wear booties and you write something like, please remove your shoes or cover them to protect the floors, which someday may be yours, I might walk out of the house without even looking at the rest of the house. The listing has a non-compelling description. This includes plain vanilla words like open and airy floor plan. Don't make it sound like every other listing. Make the description. Convince me to show the property first. We used to borrow language from the British Homes magazines. They're more descriptive and unique than the typical listing language we see every day. This home boasts of color. Honey, stop the car. Listing has terrible pictures. This includes tiny iPhone pictures with kids sleeping in their beds. Ooh, that is really gross. Kitchen pictures with dirty dishes, also gross and worse. You've seen the pictures where the agent's reflection is in the kitchen mirror holding their iPhone to shoot photos. Well, that is definitely within the listing agent's control. And if you hired that person, you deserve to not sell your house. Unless it's your cousin. And then, what are you going to do? The next three mistakes can cause a listing to sit and not sell. By the way, look, if there's dirty dishes, am I going to clean them as the listing agent? The next three mistakes that can cause a listing to sit and not sell are in the homeowner's control, but can be directed by the listing agent. The listing has too many showing restrictions. Absolutely. If you put a showing restriction on me, I'm going to be mad at you. You show the house as many times as somebody wants to see it. You just don't get it as a seller. How many times, the listing agent may have to go to a soccer game or something, the buyer's agent may need to be at a soccer game, a funeral, show houses to other buyers. They don't have all the time in the world just to sit around and wait to show your house. 100%. Let's just read it. If you can't show it, you can't sell it. If you're a buyer's agent who can show 4 houses this afternoon, but there are 8 houses to choose from, the one that's hardest to show will always go to the bottom of the list. Absolutely. If you make me have to call the agent to set an appointment and I can't just set it through the computer, I'm not really excited about going to see the house. I'm really not, because I don't want, what's going to take me, you say, well, it's only a 5-minute phone call. Well, I call them, then they call me, and I call them. It just sucks. Listing has poor curb appeal. Some 50% of the buying decisions are made from the street. Does your listing look like a house that someone would be proud of to come home to? Do simple things to improve the curb appeal. Put a wreath on the door, add a pretty front doormat, plants on the porch, landscaping, weed removal, resod dead portions of the grass, make the pool look blue again, and get that dog poo cleaned up from the yard. Yes. Yes. Curb appeal is so important. If your house is ugly, like curb appeal wise, like buyers are going to question why you even bought it in the first place. It's like, oh, this is an ugly house. What were these people thinking? Why would we buy it? Dog poo in the backyard. That's one of the things. Like, I'm just trained now. Like, I only walk on sidewalks. I don't ever walk in the grass. Buyers of mine will walk in the grass and I'll be like, not good. The listing gives a bad impression when you open the front door. The other 50% of the buying decisions made in the foyer. A clutter-free, bright foyer should make the buyer want to see the rest of the house, not make them want to turn around and go see what's next on the list. I've had people walk in houses, turn around and walk back out. Happens a lot more than you'd think. Do I appreciate that? No, because I've still got to show the house. And like if we're on a house tour and I've got to show like say 10 houses, like I'm on a schedule like usually half hour per house. And now I'm either early or I'm late. Anyway, next reason a listing might not be selling are more technical and strategic mistakes. One, something could be wrong with the actual MLS listing. Maybe the pictures aren't loading, the description doesn't make sense, or it's not categorized correctly. Well, well, here's the one for you. In ours, like condos in their own separate space, you can list it as a condo. However, you can list it as a condo and residential. So it would be in two spaces. So I always do that for condos. Anyway, next. If you don't put in the right square footage and someone is searching for it, your listing won't pop up. Yeah, but you could also be playing the square footage game. Maybe I'm searching for 15 to 2,500 square feet. If you didn't enter the square feet, I won't even see your listing. Take an MLS class so you know all the ins and outs so you won't make these simple but hidden mistakes. It's not. I think that's a listing agent mistake. The listing could be in the wrong pricing segment. If you're at 509, you're possibly the least attractive listing for a search from 500 to 750. That should be $499 to make it the best option for someone searches from 350 to 500. This has been analyzed many times, and some contend that the right price would be 500 so that it appears when you search from 300 to 500 as well as 500 to 700. I kind of agree with that. The listing looks clearly overpriced when compared to its competition. If there are 10 listings that meets the buyer criteria and your 3-bedroom listed at a price of a 4-bedroom, you'll always look overpriced and go to the bottom of the showing list. Price adjustment may be the only remedy here. Hard for a buyer to know something's overpriced without having seen many homes in the specific location that this particular home is in. Even as an agent, I typically will show a house that's overpriced in the idea that either we write an offer for less than asking or it just helps with us, more data for when we go and actually buy a house. Listing has a confusing floor plan. I've never, ever, ever, ever had someone not buy a house because of a confusing floor plan. I have had bad construction, bad additions ruin the spirit of the home to the point where it's not interesting or fixable. It's just ugly. The listing has negative feedback that never gets remedied and the price doesn't improve to reflect that. Repetitive negative feedback. This is what causes the listing to expire. Be proactive and get estimates to address condition issues. Ultimately, if the price doesn't reflect the problems, it could be an unsellable listing. Well, what is the negative? Our standard negative feedback is it's too expensive. Listing has too many personal items. Family pictures, degrees on the wall, specific artwork. These items can distract the buyer from focusing on the property and how they would live there. Buyers want to think about their stuff, not the seller's stuff. You've all heard people walk through a listing, imagine they would put their couch, wonder where their dining room set would fit and which kid would get which bedroom. Too many personal items can make it so that the conversation never happens and the buyers just want to move on to the next option. We've been in such a market where it doesn't matter. You can have terrible artwork on the wall and people would just buy it. That's going to change. What I would say, honestly, try not to make the house too sterile. like where there's no pictures, where there's like single color bed spreads and blankets. The walls are from maybe the 80s with that rose color paint. There's something about a home that's being lived in and well, like where it feels like a good place to, like it feels active and alive. And then there's the home that like grandma died in that they never touched afterwards. And it's like, yeah, that's not too many personal items per se, because they never got rid of all of them. It's just, it's not good. The listing has obvious detriments like bugs, dog hair, cat litter smells, a green swimming pool, or other off-putting things that you are making the buyer run away, either priced to reflect the condition or fix the condition. I've been in some terrible homes, some shower homes, I call them. And don't for one moment think that this is an issue of wealth inequality and how you maintain your home. I've been to $500,000 homes or greater that are disgusting, absolutely disgusting. The people that live there are disgusting pigs. It has nothing to do with the amount of money they have. They're just terrible people that aren't able to take care of a home. They should probably get a condo or live in an apartment. The listing agent simply isn't proactive or effective at communicating with the seller. When there's competition in the market, you must have a proactive strategy for being listing at once. Every Friday, if I have a listing, I go over and it's still on that market. I go over it with the seller. I say, look, these are the houses that sold. This one was better than yours. This one's not as good as yours, but it's priced better. What do you want to do? Some people say, are we willing to give a price improvement? You'll never hear me say price improvement. I think that's stupid. We got to cut the price. We got to cut the price. Or we got to hold, like maybe somebody will see that, somebody will see it and they'll want to make an offer. It just depends. That's the art of selling real estate. I think that it is an art. It has been overshadowed for the time being with the hot sellers market, but it'll come back. The art now is working with buyers and getting them under contract for a deal that made sense. Well, we did it. We got through all the articles I wanted to get through. I hope you enjoyed the show tonight. I hope there was somebody else to watch it besides me. I haven't been paying attention to the subscriber count or the view count, but anyway, I'm going to head on out. Hope you learned something tonight. I'll be back tomorrow. Not sure if I'll be back during the day or at night, but I will be back. We have plenty of stuff to talk about. Always something going on in the residential world. Thank you for watching. I will catch you tomorrow.